Hello everybody, what's up? It's Carpo. I was thinking about the web of life today, so here we are to discuss it. I'm here to discuss it to my camera. Hopefully you'll listen and enjoy. I've been thinking about the interconnectedness of the world, like always, and I was thinking about all these different labels that we give to life, to the system of life. The system is a good way to describe it because it is a system. Everything is interwoven, and we could call it a weave, the woven pattern, the woven fabric of life, and the interconnectedness of all things. But the one that really gets to me is web, the web of life, because that's a great metaphor, but it leaves something to be desired. It doesn't explain two things. Number one, a web can't just float by itself. A web has to have anchors and supports. So the web of life would have to have an anchor and support, and I would consider that natural law, right? To be the holding threads, the tether threads that hold it. But even more than that, if it's a web of life, then what's it trying to catch? I mean, you can't just you can't just use the metaphor of a web without having a predator or an actual subject that's designed to be caught. And I was thinking about, okay, what could the web of life catch? It's catching experience, maybe? Or it's catching itself through the eyes of everyone else. Before I go too far into this, I better take my daily bong hit. So this is the Girl Scout cookie again. Oh no, I feel so horrible that I have to smoke this super killer herb. But it's the Girl Scout cookie. Oh man, it's not showing. Stupid camera. And unfortunately, I have to put some, really good hash on top of it. So you can pause and load up and take a bong hit with me, and then we'll finish this conversation. I'm not a big fan of pipes. I like bongs. They have their place. But this video is not about weed. The weed's just a contributing factor to the discussion. So, we have a web of life. We have the tethers, which are natural law. And then we have what it's trying to catch, which is behavior or experience, whatever it may be. That was just one of my thoughts, but I know a lot of folks don't believe that there is natural law, or they don't quite understand maybe what it is. Natural law, karma is a natural law. It's a perfect example. That whatever you contribute is what you're going to receive, and it may not come in the form you think. For example, a person who does a lot of good things and is always helping others may find that he doesn't seem like anything's going his way. But that's in his own mind. In reality, he's doing great. His moral values are strong. He just doesn't have any worse way to feel that he can compare it to. Whereas a person who is doing wrong to others all the time may find that they think that they're doing great, and so therefore they think that their behavior is conducive to their lifestyle, but they don't realize how much better they could feel, because deep down inside they know that they're doing wrong. Those are natural law, the natural law of instinct that tells you when you are right or wrong, and I think we all have that, but the pattern of giving, the pattern of doing and sharing. But nature is, when we talk about the web of life and we talk about the system of the earth, which I'll just confine this just to the earth right now, it's kind of the more you look into it, the deeper you look into the systems of the planet, the more intense it becomes and the more questions that come up. The more you see how bees and flowers have coexisted and co-evolved to thrive on each other, as well as certain insects and plants and mushrooms, and everything is this perfect cycle. And along comes man, and look what we've done. You know, we cut down these huge forests and destroy major portions of land so we can graze our animals and harvest our wheat and build our cities. And to a person who is very nature oriented, they look at that and it's like a shock, you know. And there's still cultures on this planet that don't even really know what a city looks like. They are just, you know, primitive cultures. They still exist, and it's even to this day, and it's a great thing, a wondrous thing. But who knows how much longer that'll last. But anyway, so we have these primitive cultures, and we have modern cultures, and when, a lot of times when folks look back at old cultures, they'll think, oh, they had it so much better. They did so much. They lived closer to the earth. Like Native Americans, for example, are a perfect example. I've talked with a lot of Native Americans who have kind of a holier-than-thou attitude. The white man did this, the white man did that, and I just roll my eyes. It's like, you know, we're past this now. We're all Americans, and we're all just people. You know, we're trying to move past the borders and nationalities. But even in that time, even at the time of the, when the Native Americans roamed the plains, they had their issues too. They did live close to the earth, and they did live with peace, but there was still war, there was bloodshed, there was sacrifice. Same with the Mayans, same with the Egyptians, same with most cultures in history. There was some sort of a bloodshed involved in being a society. But when we look at it now, it's needless bloodshed, and it's done in massive amounts. And when we look at this web of life, then we look at humanity. It's really hard to see them as the same. But I do. And it took me a long time to kind of come to terms with that. That all this shit piled up in my storage space is all part of nature's plan. I don't know what it is, but we have this idea that we're separate from the universe, and we're not at all. We may be the very pinnacle and the very bee's knees of what the universe wanted to create in this part of the universe, on this planet. You know, we may be the pinnacle of creation at this point. We don't know. But I think that it's because of the things that our fellow man do that we are ashamed of ourselves, and why we think, oh, humans should be wiped out, humans are a scourge, humans are a disease. I used to think like that. I looked at humans as a virus, and that's the way I saw the world. That humans were a virus, and that they were invading the earth, and that eventually the earth will develop antibodies that will fend off the humans. But then the more I thought about it, I mean, I've been thinking this stuff for the last 10, 20 years about this one aspect of what is the human's purpose. Not just what is our purpose, where's God, what are we here to do, but do we have a reason? I think, I don't remember, who was it? George Wachowski said something like, we're here to make plastic. I just cracked me up. That stuck with me. I don't remember if it was him or not, but he says, humans are here to make plastic. And maybe so. Maybe we are. Maybe we're here to create a synthetic, maybe our whole purpose here is to create artificial intelligence so that it can thrive and take over like Terminator. But we don't know. And then you start questioning whether or not that would be part of the web of life. Would that be part of natural law? Would cyborgs walking the earth and creating themselves, or nanobots? If you know anything about nanotechnology, the reason why people are so adamantly opposed to it in a lot of cases is because if you create self-replicating machines, they'll run out of control. And it's been a premise for a lot of shows lately, but it goes way back. I mean, I've been into this quantum physics for about 10 years now, and it fascinates me. And I'm not a scientist by any means, but I think that learning the sciences and the quantum physics that are involved in creation, they don't explain anything. They only show a smaller portion of creation. but they do give us kind of a wider understanding of what things are. You know, the ancients must have just been, I mean, if they didn't have the technology to know what an atom was, or that it even existed, they could come up with all kinds of different ideas. Even up to a couple centuries ago, they thought that phlogiston, phlogiston, was a substance that was in all burning material. Any material that would burn had phlogiston in it. And until they discovered that it was, you know, they put it in a sealed container, did simple experiments, and realized that it was using up the air to burn, the oxygen and the carbon. Simple things like that were only recently discovered, and we're still developing technologies to understand how all these things fit into this web. But maybe cyborg technology, you know, is the be-all end-all of the world. You know, who knows? I used to be very strongly protective of, you know, species that are going extinct or endangered species, until I started looking into how many species die daily and yearly. And then I looked at the other side of it, to where it seems like humans only want to protect the species that are beautiful or cute or cuddly. And that's not always true. But it's the big animals and the ones who have had the longest evolution that it seems like people want to protect. It's never the little, you know, striped newt of Guinea or something, you know. I mean, sometimes it is. But my point being that most of the protection goes into, you know, protecting these animals because they're beautiful to have, they're beautiful to look at. And more than that, we don't want them to go extinct because we feel like it's our fault. But these things just happen. The oceans are warming. We don't know if it's our fault. And we know that we're contributing to global warming massively. And we can't deny that anymore. But we also know now that we're not the only creators of global warming. So we have to admit that too. We have to admit that it's a two-sided coin, and both those sides are fucking us up, because we have some serious issues to contend with CO2 levels, glacial melt. I mean, it's bad. All the things that they talked about 20 years ago that were going to happen, they're happening 10 times faster. And I'm trying not to look at it negatively. I look at it as a positive change, like nature is doing something. I kind of think that if humanity was really so horrible, that nature would have wiped us out a long time ago. On the other hand, I also open the notion that nature has to have time to kind of kick in, to realize. And humanity only over the last century has begun to really destroy ourselves. So maybe nature is planning an attack. My best guess is that it would come in the form of a super virus that would completely devastate humanity. Because a virus is nature's way of saying, you guys are too close together. And when the Spanish came over and, you know, killed off the Mayans and the Aztecs, they brought along with them smallpox and various diseases that just devastated them. Killed off 80 to 90% of the populations in some spots. And just like the Americans, you know, we used biological warfare on the Native Americans and gave them smallpox blankets. It's just insane. I mean, we've been using disease to kill off one another, biological warfare, for thousands of years. And there's no reason to think that nature is an idiot. And that's why I recommend, you know, to avoid, you can't avoid crowded spaces, but you can keep an eye on at least the RSOE emergency website, you know, to see if there's any breakouts, to see how far the H5N8 has gotten, or whatever the new one is, and just protect yourself. But anyway, the whole web, everything is all intertwined, and humans are not excluded from that. And I guess that's my point here, is to say that we're all purposeful beings, and I don't know what the fuck that purpose is. I'm just another dude. I don't know shit, but I do try to, like, use my heart and my mind to educate myself to what works best. And I can honestly say, in my life, the best thing that's worked for me is just to have a positive attitude. My camera's about to die, but I forgot to add this in. When you're out in the nature and you're looking around at it, especially when you wake up in the morning, if you have a chance and you're so fortunate to have trees near you, look at the trees. And then look at the branches. Look at where it comes out of the ground. Look at the top of the tree, the bottom, the trunk size. I like to watch where the branches are going. And then after you've looked around at all the different plants and trees around you and where the branches are all going, ask yourself, why are they going there? And you just picture the sun, how they're yearning for the sun. And you'll look at them and you'll see this how they kind of peek around each other and they intertwine and they work together as like a team to protect one another and to help one another. Not fighting for space like we tend to think, but plants work in unison as a team. And I think that I think that humans can do the same if we just give ourselves a chance. So, namaste. Peace, everyone.